Hello, loves. I hope your week has been absolutely wonderful. We are starting this week to roll out some of the live podcasts I did for a live audience at SolFest. For the first time ever, I collaborated with Lunchbox to bring you the Lizzy Jane Podcast live, and I was so happy to have Blossom as our first guest of the weekend. This was shortly after she played her first Drum and Blossom set in the United States after coming back from a huge run of shows overseas doing Drum and Blossom sets. She is an absolute light. I've been wanting to speak with her for such a long time. She has accomplished so much. She is so intelligent. She is so positive, and her community of fans and supporters is ever growing. And I am so happy to see all of her recent successes as results of long, hard years of work. And I cannot wait to see what the future holds for Miss Emily. I am so glad we were able to do this. Without further ado, this is Lizzy Jane, and you're tuning into the Lizzy Jane Podcast live with special guest Blossom. Hey guys, so lately I've seen a ton of larger shows I've been playing at that a lot of these festivals and venues are no longer allowing bags that are not clear. Well, guess what? Lunchbox Packs is coming in clutch again. They have just stepped up their anti-theft bags by releasing a fully clear hydration pack and snack pack. This is an absolute game changer for your summer festivals and events. Each bag is made out of TPU material that is incredibly durable, flexible, and made to not alter under extreme sun exposure over time. You also have the option to bring a skin in your bag on the way in, and once you're through that security line, you can zip on your skin for privacy of your belongings and to add some extra personalized fun flair. These hydration packs meet the majority of all festival regulations and guidelines. As always, these packs have all of the awesome anti-theft features as the original hydration and snack packs. Make sure you use code LizzyJane for $10 off any hydration pack and code LizzyJ for $5 off any snack pack. I will see you at the rave. The show today was brought to you by Vitaplur E-Boost Gum. With no pill to take or powders to mix, Vitaplur E-Boost Gum is a first-of-its-kind energy rave supplement that provides magnesium, electrolytes, and antioxidants while you chew. Vitaplur is the perfect complement to my active lifestyle, whether it's at the festival, on the road touring, or hitting the gym. Chew Vitaplur and dance with confidence. Use code LizzyJane for 10% off any order.
Miss Blossom, Miss
Hello.
B. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy we finally got to connect.
I know. I was telling your management, I was like, I really want to do this. We've been trying to do this for so long, and I'm so glad we got to make it happen. You just played your set at SolFest.
Yes, I did.
Tell me about it. How did you feel about it? How's the environment?
It was incredible. You know, the vibes were so high. It's like such a cool festival. Everyone's just in their floaties, hanging out, listening to the music. And this was like my first U.S. Drum and Blossom set. Full drum and bass set. So that was really special to like have an official booking for it. So incredible vibes.
Especially in the U.S.
Especially in the U.S. Yeah.
I mean, it's so exciting to see. Not only, I think everybody goes drum and bass, this is the year. You hear it over and over and over again.
Yep.
But then you see festivals like Boutique all the way up to Insomniacs and Disco Donnie and doing full D&B takeovers.
Yeah, it's really special to see the energy. And I'm just like very happy to be a part of this wave. You know, I can't take any credit for the origins of it, but I'm happy to be participating and get to show, you know, women DJs doing drum and bass in the U.S.
I know. You, Miha.
I know. We crushed it today.
Absolutely crushed.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting to the point where it's gotten and that so many females are stepping into the space in the United States and overseas. I mean, I feel like I've followed acts like Coven and so forth for so long. And you just did kind of a run of Drum and Blossom shows overseas.
I did.
So I want to know the comparison overseas to hear the vibe. Like, I know they live for that shit over there.
Yeah, I mean, I played a drum and bass tour with UKF in New Zealand, a 5-date tour. It was like 2 weeks. It was so special. special. I just, when I got the booking, I was just honored, to be honest, to be included. And it was just really special to be, accepted and respected as a drum and bass act there. I think the coolest part is like that is their biggest genre for dance music. Mm-hmm. And so the energy at every single show is like people live, die, they breathe drum and bass. It was so cool to see because I've yet to see that so far in my own experience here since I've never played the full Drum and Blossom set here. Yeah. So it was very special to bring myself into that scene.
I mean, it's so exciting. And I feel like just seeing, videos from Printworks and so on and so forth, festivals, you see people just really throw the energy right back at you.
Totally.
I kind of look at it how I look at like bass music crowds here. And sometimes like the Lost Lands, dubstep, bass pod crowds, energy is all in it. They're all for it. And I love that there, again, are so many women. And you know, in your project, you have such a duality between the Blossom project and then the Blossom drum and bass project.
Yep.
Is this something you've kind of always wanted to pursue? You've always had a love for drum and bass and you just wanted to master the craft before you stepped in? Because I know like you as an artist, you do everything mostly start to finish, everything through production, mix, and master.
Yes. Well, master sometimes, but I can.
Yes.
But I digress. I think, I didn't know that I wanted to do drum and bass when I started. When I started, I was mixing both kind of UK vibes and also kind of experimental trap, a lot of halftime. And I took a pivot for my career for like 2 years and doing a lot of experimental music. And then I found when I was producing, I just gravitated more towards bass house. So I just accepted that for then. And then over the pandemic, I was streaming twice a week doing DJ sets. And I got really tired of twice a week doing only bass house for 2 hours. And I thought, let me just lean into something else I like. And so I started doing a little bit of drum and bass. And I just absolutely fell in love. And it just it was such an escape for me to perform it. And I thought that this would just be my hobby genre, like something I just performed for myself, for me. And then I got a remix opportunity at the end of 2021, I believe. And they asked me specifically if I would do drum and bass. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll try. And then I just loved it. I really felt like I found my way. And so I think I'm happy I waited so long to get my skills to a point where I can confidently execute a drum and bass song and a drum and bass mix.
It's not easy. It's not an easy genre.
It takes some time. So I just, I'm happy that I waited, even though I didn't know I was waiting,
I mean, I think things just happen in a certain progression sometimes, and you look back and you say, I'm glad this happened when it did. This wasn't supposed to happen here. It was supposed to happen when I'm ready.
Yep.
And I mean, you yourself, you've been doing this, aspiring to do this for a very long time. And now you're doing it.
It's crazy.
And I know in the last 2 years, correct me if I'm wrong, you left your daytime job.
Yeah.
You stepped full time into the Blossom project. How did that feel to finally get to a point where you're like, not only am I living my dream, but I'm financially secure and I know this is going to be here tomorrow. And I know between touring and other income through music, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. So I only quit in August of this past year. So it was very recent. So it was very cool to finally do it. I was doing a corporate graphic design job for 2.5 years, and that got me through the pandemic and everything. But at some point, it's I was at my desk for so long a day, clocking hours for that, clocking hours for music, and I just was so burnt out of doing both. Mm-hmm. And at some point, I'm like, I know I'm going to take a cut in earnings for a little bit. But it's worth it because the time is now, right? We have this window where we can make it happen. And if I spend my whole time splitting time, I'm not putting my full energy into either thing. I'm doing half energy. So at some point, I just had to decide, if I want to do this, I just have to make the leap. And I'll figure it out from there.
Rip the Band-Aid off, go for it.
Yep, exactly. And so I just decided to do it in August. I was so burnt out from doing both. And I'm so relieved that I did it. It took a month to adjust to life and
you're wow.
Well, I felt like I always had assignments to do. So I'm I don't have those anymore. It was very weird mentally, but yeah, now I just am living the dream.
So what does your average day look like now? Like a day in the life of Blossom? Like, do you have a routine? I know you really value like mental wellness, physical fitness, as it's so important as a touring artist because it messes up your sleep schedule, your eating schedule, everything in between. Yeah. So what does a day at home look like for you?
So I've been waking up this past couple weeks. I've been waking up at like 7:30 and getting an hour walk in the morning. That's been really good for me, and listening to like a motivational podcast of some sort.
Love it.
And then I get back, I eat, then I start working on music, or usually I have like meetings around 9. So I make it for the 9 meeting. Then I get admin stuff done, work on music. And then like 9:30, I'll go to the gym until like 11, come home and do it all
Living
again.
The life. I love it.
I really like being disciplined with a schedule. It helps me to have a solid structure.
Well, I feel like you have to have that because even without having a part-time job or a full-time job for income, there's so much you have to manage and time batch as an artist, and then still be able to get yourself in a creative mindset where you can produce something that you love.
Yep, exactly. And also have experiences to write about. You have to factor that part in.
You have to live.
Well. Like,
you got to go out there and live.
Yeah. How am I going to write love songs if I'm not seeing anyone at all? If I'm just watching my screen for 7 days a week, whatever. Or how am I supposed to write like deep emotional stuff without experiencing any of it? So you also have to factor in experience and like living your life a little bit.
Absolutely.
Sure.
The balance, and I think breaks are so incredibly healthy on the back end where you have to kind of remove yourself so that you come back and you write and you come back and you channel that experience into new music. After your overseas trip, did you come back and you were like, oh my God, I'm so ready?
Yeah, I felt very motivated after, although I had like 3 days at home. So most of it was just spent like catching up on life a little bit. And then when I came home, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. But it was so cool to be there and just like be with some of my drum and bass heroes and just people that I like really respect. And for them to give me the time of day and be like, become friends was just like, whoa, like I'm doing this. It was just really cool. And it gave me a lot of confidence, I think, in what I do, knowing that those people like respect what I'm doing.
It's amazing. And taking me back to the beginning of the Blossom project. I know you kind of grew up playing like Shady Park and places in Arizona. You know, did you start as a DJ? Did you start as a producer?
I did both at once.
Okay.
So I started to get into it. I would see guys DJing at like frat parties and they were playing a lot of the stuff I liked listening to, like early Chami and stuff like that. I'm just really, my collar is crazy. Anyway.
I love it. It's cute. I love the style. I love it always. I'm obsessed.
I saw them DJing the stuff that I like to listen to. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even know that you could do that. And then I had a friend who went to a music school in LA called Dubspot. He went to the New York one. And I didn't know that existed either. So I begged my parents to let me go. And I went for a summer to this like dual DJ and production introduction course. And so I just started both at the same time. I think like it was easier to get my bearings in DJing faster because, you know, producing is a lot of labor.
I think if you can count to 4, you can eventually DJ.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's totally so much that goes behind that craft in itself. It's a totally different thing to put together a great set, know how to crate dig, know how to do the mashups, the edits, all of that. But production, that's the real kind of skill master that no matter where you're starting, it's going to take you years.
Right, exactly. It just took a while. So, you know, the DJing stuff started to take off much sooner than production. But yeah, I started them concurrently.
I love that. And did you start, you know, from what you said before, you kind of messed around with more of like deeper experimental trap stuff, or did you just kind of go right into bass house, or did that happen when you were producing and you were like, this is what I'm producing, this is what I need to be DJing?
I kind of was trying both. When I was in school, sometimes I would DJ like night bassy days, and sometimes I would do like the weirdest stuff I could find on SoundCloud. That was really not easy to mix, that's for sure. And when it came to producing, like it was the same thing. Some days I wanted to do this. There was just no pressure for it to be anything. You know, so it's like
so much
the
fun.
Freedom to just do whatever it was very empowering. And so when you niche yourself down, which eventually sometimes we need to do, you have a little more pressure on yourself. And especially with the expectations as you start to develop your artist career and you want to have something you're known for, that adds pressure too. But those early days, I'm like, I'll do whatever,
So when did the kind of time mark hit where you had things ramping up, you had people who started to believe in you, wanted to support the project, and then all of a sudden it feels a little bit like a job and it kind of has that pressure on your shoulders? When did that kind of happen in your journey?
I think when I started, I was going to school still.
Okay.
So I took a little time off of producing seriously to focus on graduating. And then once I graduated, I did like every odd job in the game. And as soon as I signed to management and things started picking up, then it was like, oh, I'm doing this. Like I'm removing myself from the job market and doing odd jobs. And I guess I'm doing this now. And I think over time, it's like then you have people expecting a certain sound from you and certain delivery from you, I guess. I think that just comes over time, but I think it's important. And I think especially having started doing drum and bass, it's all about finding ways to fall in love with it again, right? It's like when you're with a partner for a long time, you have to be very proactive about finding ways to be passionate about this. And so I think that drum and bass has renewed my excitement for making music. And then I can do both. I'm not so pigeonholed into one specific genre. I can do whatever I want to, essentially.
Yes.
And that's very liberating because
it's so nice.
Yeah.
It gives you that creative outlet where you're like, okay, I'm still being productive and I'm still working away at my craft and I'm still contributing to the Blossom project, but I still feel happy and I feel artistically fulfilled.
Yep.
And I don't feel like I'm opening the same template over and over again and going, okay, well, we're going to take this from the last song and we're just going to kind of reverse this and then our song's done. When you had the support on the back end, when I kind of started to discover you, it was through Night Bass and then Confession and then all of that, at what point in your journey did you start to get your tracks signed to, these larger electronic dance music labels?
A couple years in. So one of my teachers at Dubspot was PD Clicks. He's part of Night Bass.
Love it. Okay.
And so I was really inspired by him, but I didn't think much of it other than like cool. And then I saw AC Slater was coming through town. This was December 2015. And I basically begged to be on the lineup. And so they put me on and I told PD like, hey, I'm playing this. Like, I'm so excited. And then he told AC who I was. And so I got to meet him and it was really cool. And then I just continued that relationship over time. I think between 2015 and 2018, I didn't show him any music. I didn't even really talk about it. So when I finally sent him some music, I had established this relationship and I was actually ready to put some stuff out. And then that kind of relationship started to blossom. I saw the look on your face and I was like, I don't know.
I love that so much. Yeah. That's so on brand, quote unquote.
But yeah, it took a couple years before I was like ready, and then it started to build through there.
Amazing. And since then, I mean, you've been really logistically around the world and back. And I'm sure, music has taken you places that would have never gone before.
Yeah,
speaking from the middle of Alabama.
I know, I was going to say, totally. Didn't know I'd be in Southeast Alabama.
Ever.
Here we are.
And here we are.
And it's amazing.
And speaking about Blossom and the brand, and you're so uplifting, you're always so positive, and you're so like, love, love, love. I feel like it's the definition of like what Plur should be, used to be, supposed to be, future of what it is. Pink hair. Have you always had pink hair? Has it always been your thing?
8 years of pink hair. Yep.
Why was pink the color? What was the background on it? Did you do it for DJing or did you do it because you're like, I want pink, like this is it?
It's always been my favorite color. Growing up, I have a lot of pictures of just me in full pink outfits. And then when I was in high school, I painted all my walls pink. Everything was pink in my room. And I just always have really loved the color deeply. And so I was going to Hard Summer at the end of summer 2015 after I went to music school. And I thought I could get away with a temporary hair dye, like a pink. I'm like, my parents won't notice. When I come back, it'll be great. They won't even know. Well,
well.
Then I actually really liked it. And then I kind of convinced my parents, like, no, it's cool. And then my mom said, if you're going to do it, you have to get it professionally dyed.
Actually done.
Yeah.
I did a very similar thing. And my mom was like, I love it. You burned all your hair off going platinum. We're going to rehabilitate it, but you kind of look like a Smurf. So let's go do this the right way. And ever since I've done it the right way, I mean, having colored hair is fun. It's very fun. And it's perfect for what we do.
Exactly.
Also.
And it's funny, like a lot of my friends now have never even seen me with another color because I've met them in the past 8 years. So they wouldn't even know what I would look like. And my mom is like, I completely forget what you look like with any other color. It's always been this shade pretty much. So
I love consistent. It. Very cute. And then Blossom, where'd the name Blossom come from?
It was gifted to me at the same time. It's like a rave name. So I dyed my hair for Hard Summer. And I had been going to school all summer for music and trying to think of a name. And one of my friends was like, just wait till we go to Hard Summer. We'll think of something. And I'm like, why? Why would it happen there? And then I'm in the crowd and I dyed my hair, whatever. We're in the crowd for a set. And some of her friends came up to me and were like, with that hair, you really look like a Powerpuff Girl. And I'm like, what? Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Best compliment ever.
Thank you. And so I'm like, okay, Blossom, that's it. And so, some people advise like maybe you should change some letters. I'm like, no, I just want it as is.
And like the calligraphy and the way it kind of all flows together. Yeah. I think the first time I got kind of put on to Miguel, also known as Sarah Dopa online, love him so much,
love him to pieces.
Was seeing it through your artwork. And I was like, this is so cute. And it's so like, it's such a collective idea. Yep. And it's all very like well packaged, but it's also like fun and not too serious.
Oh, he's just the best. So we met, I'd seen some of his art online. This was early pandemic. And, then he was a big part of my Twitch chat. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of connected the dots and I was looking for art and I'm like, why don't I ask him, reach out to the community. I love giving opportunities to people in the community. And so then we ended up working together. I mean, we work together a lot. Mm-hmm. We go to every show together in Denver. He's always with me.
I saw him at Laramie Lounge. He was bopping up and down. I was out of town and I was just like, no. Laramie Lounge is like 10 feet this way, 100 feet this way, I live.
Oh my gosh.
So next time
you're that close.
I'm that close. I'm that close.
Done.
Yeah, yes. So I love Rhino, that whole little area. It's just the cutest place ever. And Laramie always pops off. Laramie,
it was amazing.
It's such a vibe.
It was so much fun. I think it was like packed to the brim. It was so cool. It was the last date of my headline tour. And so,
first headline tour.
It was so awesome.
Okay, reflect on that. How did that make you feel to push actual tickets and have actual people come from all corners of everywhere to see you?
A little bit stressful. Mm-hmm. A lot of it stressful.
Weight.
Yeah, trying to push tickets and hope people show up and are excited about what you're doing. I think it's a very scary prospect to be on my own, which was actually the tour name.
Look at all of these. I can't wait to do Blossom and then On My Own and then all of these other little clips. But it's very true. And a lot of artists never, especially in the DJ circuit, EDM world, they never take that step.
Yep.
It definitely takes a little bit to not only gain the confidence, but you have to do your rounds in all of these markets and all of these states and then say, I'm confident enough that I can bring 200 people to this room.
Yeah, it was, this is my 8th year. Yeah, it's my 8th year going into it. So it definitely took some time.
Doesn't happen overnight.
No, it definitely does not happen overnight. I think it's really a testament to you just have to keep pushing and eventually you will get there if you have the tenacity to stick with it. It was a crazy experience, especially ending in Denver with that energy from everyone.
Such a party.
And just, seeing people know the lyrics to your songs and handing me these perlers they've made of Blossom.
Massive.
Yeah, I have such a collection now where all the candy, whatever, with my name on it. It's whoa. You guys sat down and made this for me. It's
best feeling in the world.
It's so special. So getting that experience for that many shows, it was really, really encouraging.
Absolutely. And validating.
And validating.
100%. You kind of, I think a lot of times it's very easy to get lost in the mix of focusing on what's next, not enjoying the current moment. You reach a goal that you always reached and then you say, okay, I want more. We got to accomplish more. We got to do more. And especially with, a team behind you, it's like, this is amazing. And then we're here. But being able to kind of look around, enjoy the moment, see the candy, see the smiles, it really puts everything into perspective, everything that you've really accomplished.
Yeah, I think of this quote a lot, like, we spend so much time thinking of tomorrow. We forget that today is a day of our life as well, I love that. So you end up losing time of your life if you're always thinking of the next thing. We have to enjoy some moments sometimes and just experience them.
I love it. I saw before we go, I saw your Super Bowl shenanigans. How was the Super Bowl?
Why you gotta put me on the spot like that?
I was like, I had to ask. It finally came to your city.
Listen,
it
Super
looked
Bowl
like Bender,
and
1, 2, 3, 4.
It was a lot. It was Super Bowl and the Waste Management golf tournament in one weekend. It was a lot.
I kept seeing that and I was like, she's channeling her inner John Summit. It's honestly wonderful.
It felt very much that vibe. I didn't know I had it in me anymore.
Life experiences.
Listen,
you did it.
You just got to lean in. Yeah, Sunday was rough though. I got to be honest. Sunday was not looking good.
I feel like that's like day 4 of a festival when you wake up and you're just like, okay, I'm here. I'm not spiritually here. Like I'm not physically here, but I'm still standing here. And
do we have to do this at 7 a.m? Because it's a golf tournament the last day. Yeah, that was... Well, I did it.
I love it. Those are things that you look back on, though. I just saw Skrillex at Red Rocks on Saturday. And those are things where I had like 2 days of not sleeping. I had 2 shows and I got back at 6 p.m. and we went right to Red Rocks. Best decision of my life. I know. Don't know how I got home, but it was the best decision of my life.
The best stories are always like that, right? We got to do it for the plot.
Absolutely. Okay, before we go, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Thank you for having me.
It was lovely. We finally got to do it.
Of course.
In the middle of Alabama. No other place in the world.
It only took us coming to Alabama to get to do this.
Exactly. I need 5. No, let's do 3. 3 pieces of advice for up and coming producers.
Oh my gosh.
Things you wish you told yourself 5 years ago.
Well, first and foremost, I think is just stick with it. I always think of this image a friend sent me. I'm sure lots of people have seen it at this point of kind of the miners. And, one person is like almost there to gold.
Yes.
And then they turn away, and sometimes with this stuff, it's like, you got to survive, right? It's the people that push through, even through those tough moments that get to do it. It's not the people that give up. So it's sticking with it, even if it feels really not fun sometimes. But 2 more pieces of advice.
I need 2 more. 2 more. Could be technical, could be production, could be branding, anything. 2 more.
Oh my gosh.
I believe in you.
I think one thing that I really thought was advantageous when I got started was doing both DJing and production at once. Learning congruently, I think, was really important to my growth because I could see, I could test out my stuff live, however bad it was in the beginning. Absolutely. But then I can also get a feel for structure of songs and presentation and what kind of things people react to and what things are playable, which is tough. Sometimes I'll have demos and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this one.
We're all in.
Yeah, exactly. So
you see the waveform and then you see the next song's waveform and you're like, wow, this really doesn't amount to each other.
Yeah, exactly. So just learning those things and what works, what doesn't work. I think they helped in tandem. One more
and then you're done. And then I open the gates and let you go free.
I think maybe on the branding front, the best thing was for a name to be given to me. And I think a lot of the times when you're thinking of a concept, you have this idea of this thing you want to be. But the best things are just like you amplified, right? Like my brand, it's so easy for me to execute and to be Blossom because it's just like me, And so I don't have to think about it that much because it's just like, I love me as a person. And I think people resonate a lot with the authentic nature of just showing up as yourself.
Yes.
You know, and
like
that'll
authentic, genuine self. And that's how you're going to attract the people that are meant to be attracted to you.
Right. And it's a lot easier.
Yes. Than doing facade.
Yeah.
Okay, this is like Hannah Montana life.
Listen, this is exhausting enough. That's for sure. So the last thing you need is to like have to pretend to be something.
Absolutely. And I feel like in this industry, you can really lose yourself. So the more genuine to yourself you are, the easier it's going to be.
Totally.
Well, Blossom, thank you so much, Emily, for coming on. I really
This is
appreciate it.
amazing.
Thanks, guys, for sitting down to watch. Really appreciate it. First one down. Thank you for joining
Of
me.
course. Thanks for having me.